do have a few announcements to make today, but I wanted to start off a little bit more big picture. And I figure what better way to do that than to quote a man who looms large over this entire conference. And I'll give you a hint as to whom I'm talking about. It's not the doctor. Now, the quote, or maybe it's more of a proclamation, but is this: the protocol wars are over. The protocol wars are over, and the implication is that BSV has already won. Now, I would agree, but it's a controversial statement in a lot of rooms, but not this one, or at least this virtual room. And why is that? Only BSV scales to meet global demand. Only BSV scales to meet global demand, and as more and more people realize this, their incentive is to join us, not to try and reinvent the wheel. And those who feel compelled to copy are going to be confronted with the impressive network being formed on BSV before our eyes. My name is Jackson Laskey, and I'm a partner at Unbounded Capital, a BSV ecosystem fund offering venture and hedge exposure to the BSV space. And when our firm switched from a multi-network strategy to focusing exclusively on BSV, our peers found this to be a bold choice, to say the least. But to us, it wasn't. It wasn't bold at all. Really, we had no choice. Only BSV scales to meet global demand. We simply recognized that the protocol wars are over. And so now it's time to think at scale. We all know that the ability to scale isn't the same thing as scale itself. And I would argue that understanding that scale is possible is not the same thing as thinking at scale. Now, many in BSV are already thinking at scale, but I think we all need to strive to think bigger, and especially to think deeper and to think farther ahead. It's time to think at scale, and here's why. The countdown to FAMGA has begun. Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, $6.5 trillion in combined market cap. And I'm going to do a little math for you. That's about 6,500 Kelvins. So if Bitcoin is what we think it is, if BSV is what we think it is, this is our competition. It's not BSV's competition, but it is the competition of BSV businesses. $6.5 trillion. There's no outspending these companies, only potentially outwitting. The countdown to FAMGA has begun. At Unbounded Capital, we love BSV startups and entrepreneurs. A BSV entrepreneur must do two things. One, you guessed it, think at scale. And two, embrace competition. Now, it really isn't bold to be a BSV investor, but it is bold to be building a BSV business. And I work with BSV entrepreneurs almost every day, and I find myself constantly inspired by the vision, the ability to think at scale, the creativity, the determination, the passion, and I feel compelled to do what I can to help these companies succeed. And it isn't just because, for a firm like ours, our returns would be better if BSV startups outcompete, the tech giants. It's much more important than that. I really think the tech world needs a fresh start, a new culture, a culture that I think is being built here at BSV, a culture that focuses on serving customers, not deceiving them, a culture that focuses on building real economic value, not just the promise of economic value in the future, and a culture that recognizes the value and the beauty of an individual, not a culture that seeks to shape and control the masses. I think that culture is being built here on BSV, and I think it's because of the technology. I think the technology has a way of grabbing people who already have these values and bringing it even further out of them. And that's why at Unbounded Capital we love BSV startups and entrepreneurs. And we think that we can help. We want to help drive the adoption of services created by BSV startups. We want to see every Fortune 500 company using services created by companies like Run, Handcash, Planaria, Sokin, Tokenized, Unisat, Tall, Matterpool, Mempool, Chronoverse, RelayX, BitBoss, Bayesian Group, MetaStream, MoneyButton, Senti, Bitstocks, Enchain, and the list goes on from here, and it's growing quickly, as we all know. And so, I'm extremely excited to be introducing Unbounded Enterprise. We're diving in to take a more active role in driving the adoption of services created by BSV startups. Time is of the essence. The countdown to FAMGA has begun, and we think we can help accelerate this adoption. So what is Unbounded Enterprise? Well, first, let's recognize that competition demands specialization. Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley loves moats. Moats that you can build around your business and keep out the competition. But in Bitcoin, moats are hard to come by. Bitcoin's a space where autonomy and interoperability are the expectation. So Bitcoin startups must embrace competition, and competition demands specialization. Now, from a consumer's perspective, competition and specialization are good, but that's really skipping steps. Specialization can lead to fragmentation, fragmentation to complexity, and very few consumers can afford complexity. At Unbounded Enterprise, we want to make sure they don't have to. Making adoption simple. That's our North Star at Unbounded Enterprise. Imagine a simple business like a ticketing company that uses Run for tickets, Handcash Connect for payments, Planaria to view the whole universe of tickets, and Zokin's Allegory protocol to track the identity of each ticket holder. Of course, you would need a transaction processor as well. And while this is a relatively simple example constructed exclusively of unbounded capital portfolio companies, we can already see the complexity starting, and there's many more examples like this. We could think of a VR game that uses tools from Chronoverse and Omniscape, which we saw yesterday, and maybe it uses MetaStream for IoT devices embedded in the home of each competitor. And if it's a VR game, then we know Bitstocks is involved somehow, although I don't think anyone really has the details yet. The point is this: there's already so many great BSV startups and services. And as that number continues to increase, the possibilities are going to explode a number. But we want to make sure complexity doesn't explode as well. Back to our North Star, making adoption simple. Okay, so what is Unbounded Enterprise? We're still a work in progress, but we're striving to be a single point of contact that makes it easy for businesses to adopt the services being created by BSV startups. And how will we do that? We'll do it by making the core of Unbounded Enterprise a transaction processor. Now, those of you who caught Jerry Chan from Tall, an entrepreneur in an organization for whom we have immense respect and admiration, those of you who caught his talk earlier today will already know that transaction processors live and die with the growth of the ecosystem. Processors are incentivized to drive ecosystem growth, and the ecosystem is dependent on having multiple great transaction processors. It's a role that it works well with our goal of growing the ecosystem at Unbounded Capital, and it's a position from which we think we can have the greatest impact in driving the adoption of BSV services. I don't know where we'll end up, but I do know where we'll start. We'll start at the center, and to me, the center of any business function on BSV is with the node network. Now, we know that the BSV network is theoretically unbounded, but the bound at any one time is determined by the level of investment by nodes and the technology available to nodes. It's for this reason that I'm extremely excited to announce that there's a company called Zoken Labs. Zoken Labs has a founder and CEO named Nithin Mani, and Nithin Mani is a man who thinks at scale. And Zoken Labs is creating a new BSV node implementation called Zoken Vega that I believe will be the state-of-the-art in scaling Bitcoin and Bitcoin applications. And for that reason, I'm extremely excited to announce that Unbounded Enterprise will be the first transaction processor to be adopting Zoken Vega upon its completion in Q1 2021. Now, for those of you who care about such things, Zoken Vega promises to be the end to such BSV app developer bugaboos as the child transaction limit, the dust limit, and I think ultimately all practical scaling limits. We'll also be integrating Zoken Nexa, which is an existing blockchain indexing and SPV service, which helps scale BSV applications, not just the blockchain itself. And that's Zoken Vega and Zoken Nexa. I really couldn't be more excited for the future of Bitcoin, the future of BSV startups, and the future of Unbounded Enterprise. But we're still early on this journey, and we don't have all the answers. So for that reason and more, we want to connect with you. If you're a BSV startup looking to understand what we can do for you as a transaction processor and a partner, we want to connect with you. If you're a business looking to understand how BSV services could be used to help you improve your business and achieve your vision, we want to connect with you. If you're a hash operator and you're looking for a mining pool with unique opportunities, we want to connect with you. And most importantly, we're growing our team. And if you want to take this journey with us, we want to connect with you. For more information about Unbounded Enterprise, Unbounded Capital, and our partners, including Zoken Labs, please check out unboundedenterprise.io, and you can contact us there as well. I want to sincerely thank Jimmy, I want to thank Calvin, I want to thank CoinGeek, and everyone who helped us make this announcement of an exciting evolution at Unbounded at such an amazing conference. And I want to leave you with a promise from us to you. We will make all of your dreams come true in 18 months. And if you don't get that joke, I envy you. Thank you very much for your time.